Yeah, I know, bro. I was thinking the same thing. Like right now, I just want to be focusing on myself. Hey, Baba.
You never give me. You never give me.
I never. Guys, Mjolo is still after me. So, please watch this video so you can learn and not make the same mistake. Guys. Hey, Baba, let me in. He's still after me. Guys, please watch the video. It's very important. I'm signing out. Good day everyone, this is Tianko Geldenes. Welcome back to my channel, and are you ready for the best relationship advice that you will ever hear?
Okay.
Today I just want to talk about really the miseducation of self and relationships, and why I believe this is the best relationship advice that you will ever hear. Before we dive into relationships with other people, we have to understand, and this is why I call this miseducation, we have to understand our relationships with ourselves. This is the most fundamental and important relationship you'll have in your life, the relationship with yourself. Why our relationships with ourselves is the most important and the most fundamental? It is because it dictates our reality. It is the foundation of our reality. How we see ourselves is what projects outwards and what sets the foundations and also the rhythm of our relationship with reality and how we see the world. And this relationship with ourselves is the first Semitic principle. Everything we see is a reflection of our minds and our inner selves. How we see the world reflects outwards, and our realities, our current realities, is everything that is on the inside, and how we see ourselves, what we think we deserve, who we think we are. That foundation with ourselves, that relationship with ourselves, sets the standard of our reality and the basis of our reality. This is where the miseducation comes into play. We go to school and we learn about math, science, accounting, different languages, but never are we ever taught about ourselves and how to maintain a good relationship with ourselves. We go to life science classes or life orientation classes, and they talk about maintaining good relationships with other people, but the most important thing is never taught. Relationship with ourselves, all is mind. Once we set the boundaries within our minds, we set the boundaries of our reality. The human brain is the world's first supercomputer. It stores information and allows us to adapt to the information that we store. This is very vital within the first 7 years of the toddler's life and infant's life. It is well known that our environments dictate a lot about who we'll grow up to be and the sort of lifestyle choices that we'll make. But what people don't understand is that this is outreaching, and it is a fundamental principle of reality, that our relationships with ourselves dictates a lot of what goes outwards. And we need to learn to love ourselves unconditionally before we can learn to love anybody else conditionally. People don't understand the importance of having a good relationship with themselves and usually first look outwards. And a lot of this has to do with the way that the world has taught us that we need to look outwards and never inwards. We always look outwards, we always project, we always spread what we feel on the inside. This is why when you don't go down the known path of going to college, getting a student loan, getting a degree, getting your dream job, saving a lot of money so you can buy a house and start your family, if you don't go down that route, a lot of people will be against what you do, your dreams and your ambitions, because they don't understand it. It is not from a place of jealousy or hate per se, but it is from a place of fear, a place of self-fear. They are reflecting what they feel onto your dreams, onto your reality, onto your thoughts. And this is the relationship with self, because a lot of people have never pursued their dreams, have never gone on their own paths. They will never understand the process of pursuing your own dreams and figuring out your ambitions, because they have never done it for themselves. So it is difficult for them to understand. They don't have that relationship. They lack it within themselves, and this is what they reflect outwards. This is the importance of having and understanding your relationship with yourself. Again, the first Hermetic principle. all is mind. Everything begins in words. And this is the biggest issue with modern relationships, is that it begins outwards. People reflect outwards. You're only dating a reflection of yourself, because what draws you to them in the first place is an attraction, something that you can relate to. And the only reason you relate to that is because you have it within yourself. So whether it be a toxic relationship or it be a negative one, or both of you have mental issues, or both of you are lazy, it's something that y'all relate to and something that y'all find comfort within each other. This is why it takes two people to be in a relationship, because you both have to see it in each other. So with this information, we can begin to self-analyze, and I'm going to give you a few pointers on what to look for. So the first one would be, what we seek in people is what we lack in ourselves. And this is basically the formation of love languages. If you never received a lot of physical attention during your upbringing, that is something that you'll want from them. You'll want that comfort, you'll want that physical touch. And this is the importance of polarity as well. This is the fourth automatic principle, and I'm going to go off topic a little bit, but the polarity is basically the duality of things. Because you never receive physical touch when you're growing up, it can manifest. There's two things. It can manifest within the shadow self, as in you don't want physical touch at all because you never received it, and now it's something that you feel anguish and negative about. Or it can manifest as a needy thing, something that you want and something that you earn. It manifests as basically a hunger because you've never received it properly to the way that you want it. And this is the importance of polarity, that the same thing has duality. Light, like energy, it can manifest as light or it can manifest as dark. These principles apply at all levels of consciousness. Going back into topic, what we lack is usually what we seek. So when we seek in things, we usually expect our partners to read our minds, to be there when we always need them to be, when we're feeling down, and to just be like a superhero, which is not reasonable, because nobody can be that person for you. You can only be that person. And when we don't have what we seek within ourselves, that is when we start outreaching into other people, and this forms negative bonds, and this is what forms attachments. When somebody gives you something that you cannot give yourself, and this is how negative attachments form, and people think that they're in love when they're not. They just have, or a person gives them a sense of themselves that they don't have. And this is basically the first thing that goes wrong in dating, or the first thing that we look for. And the second thing will be what we hate about ourselves, or what we dislike about ourselves, is what we dislike in our partners. I follow confessions on Instagram, and I see a lot of dudes, or a lot of girls, complaining that their boyfriends always urge them to go to gym and to lose weight and to eat healthy just because they do it. And this is usually a manifestation of fear, because you don't want to be overweight per se, or you don't want to be out of shape, you don't want to be eating unhealthy food. So when you see somebody else doing it, it invokes that fear in yourself that, yo, that could be me, yo, I don't want to be that person, I don't want to be that person. And hence you now start to translate that fear onto somebody else. Even though that person is comfortable with themselves, they love themselves, they're okay being there the way they are, they don't want to gym, they don't want to do anything, which is fine. But the issue begins when you start seeing yourself in that person, and you see that person in a negative light, which means you've not fully accepted yourself, which means the reason you gym and the reason you eat healthy is not for your self-betterment, but you're hiding from something. And this is something that is important to understand when you want to introspect and you want to grow as a person, because when you start looking at all these small things and all these small things that bother you, it's not that it's the person that's bothering you, it's what you're seeing in them reflecting back at you that's bothering you. So in essence, you are bothering yourself. So you only need to learn how to accept yourself fully, unconditional love, and then you can transmute that into loving somebody else unconditionally and loving them for who they are, because they love themselves. You need to show the same affection to yourself and to them. And the last one for today is what we love and understand in our partners is what we love and understand in ourselves. A person can only love you as much as they love themselves. As much as they understand themselves, they can understand you. If you understand yourself at a very deep, intimate level, and you date somebody that is not at that point, somebody that is scared to see themselves, they will never be able to connect at a deeper level, because they can only connect here while you are here. You have to be at the same wavelength to connect, and you have to be at the same feeling of self-love, the same vibration. So again, when we date people, we are basically dating a reflection of ourselves. So if this person only understands themselves at a certain level, when they look at you, they don't look at you how you see yourself, they look at you how they see themselves. And if that's self-hatred, and if that's something that they don't like I said in 2 previous points, if those are negative things, if those are negative manifestations, that is going to be something that they're afraid of. They're not going to be able to get you, they're not going to be able to talk to you. And this forms the toxic relationships. So again, the things that we love and understand is the things that we see in ourselves. So this is the importance of relationships. You need to be able to be full before you get into a relationship, because again, we are only looking for things that we don't have in ourselves. So when we go to our partners, we need to go with full hearts, full minds, full understanding, full unconditional love for it to be a prospering relationship. And we're not taking little parts from each other, but we are lifting each other up. And there has to be a meeting point, because again, you can build, but this is something that you need to understand. Because if you want to go into the relationship thinking that they need to just automatically read your mind and give you everything you need without talking about it, without hashing it out, you're never going to build. Because it's in the process of taking and giving, taking and giving, taking and giving, that you form a very strong bond. Or you come into relationship full. I come into the relationship full, and we just feed each other, and from there we openly talk about what we seek from each other and what we want, and that is when it becomes healthy and there's a lot of growth. And being in a healthy relationship is human nature. It is what we crave, it is what we all crave, it is what we all deserve unconditional love. And before I go, I just want to talk about one thing. It's that majority of men,
What?
the only unconditional love they'll ever get is from their mothers. Otherwise, it is all about what you do, what you can provide, who you are. That's how the world will treat you, that's how the world will love you. If you're not somebody that's valuable, you're not going to get hugs and kisses, you're not going to get love. Not to undermine women, but
there is not a female on the planet who's invisible today. You can be a 4, overweight, fat, you'll still go to the club and get attention. 99% of the men go to the club and nobody even fucking talks to them.
This is why we are different, because you are born into this world with value, especially if you are born with good especially if you are born with good genetics, you're good looking, you're smart, you're already valuable. Men as well are valuable, but it's the world that treats them like they're not, and it treats us like we always have to be somebody, we always have to be valuable. So this is important for men especially, that you need to love yourself unconditionally, because nobody else is going to, especially if you don't have a good mother that can do that for you. Because like I said, this is a miseducation, a mass miseducation amongst the world's population, that nobody is teaching people, or at mass media nobody's teaching people how to love themselves. And this is what causes, generational curses, trauma, all this things that men have to deal with. And like I said, if you don't have a good mother, because it happens where your mother grows up in a very traumatic home and she's never taught how to deal with it and how to heal from it, it can transmute to you. So there'll be a point where there's a lot of points where young men grow up and they don't have a full sense of unconditional love. And that's the worst part, because that's the foundation of building a strong man. He loves himself unconditionally. He's disciplined. It's the two fundamental things of being a strong man. And the world is very dangerous when it's filled with weak men that are impulsive, that don't understand themselves, and that spread hatred. A strong man is fundamentally understands himself, loves himself, spreads love, and is a good person. The world needs more good men, and I encourage you to be that person. That's why I do a lot of what I do, because personally, when I was younger, I never had that. I had a lot of self-hatred issues and a lot of trauma and a lot of things I didn't understand about myself. And within mass media, there's nobody that teaches men how to love themselves, how to have good relationships with themselves. And this is what I want to do, and why what I do is important to me. I've always wanted to make videos. I've always wanted to be somebody that voices my opinion, because I think that I have a message that can help people, because I am somebody that has faced the worst of it in terms of self-hatred and depression, and I've come out of it by myself, teaching myself. So if I can cut the time in half for anybody, that would mean the world to me, and it's really just about that for me. I've always wanted to make videos. I've thought about making skits and silly things, which I probably will do. But this is the most important thing to me, voicing things that matter and things that people need to hear. So have a blessed week. Stay productive. I love all you guys. Goodbye.